Okay, so the as luck would have it, just a bit of background. So we have this big like hoopla about terminal, blah blah blah. This is cool, whatever. The very next day, out comes right, like
Every fucking day.
the very next day, out comes OpenAI with this massive announcement of like, woohoo, Codex, the IDE, Codex, the terminal, Codex, the cloud, Codex, the everything, agents, agents, agents. And I'm like, oh god. So anyway, the terminal app appears like it will get heavy support from here on in. So that's why I'm seeing just like what looks like $1 million a year worth of dev effort being spent on this repo. Like it's changing faster than any repo I've watched before. This is why, because it turns out it's actually the crux of their whole coding offering. Then also the very next day, out comes the agent communication protocol, literally the next day after we have our talk. And it's like the model context protocol, but for agents. And one of the first systems to support it is the Gemini CLI, which is actually a pretty nice CLI. It's the same as what OpenAI is offering. Same deal. Basically, a CLI, and off you go. Here's the Gemini. It's doing all the things. It looks good. Under the hood, they're all much of a muchness. It doesn't really matter. So that's that background. The agent protocol, sort of like having agents working in an editor, is starting to become a standardized thing. MCP getting more and more embedded, but it's probably like fulfilled its purpose. Like it does what it's supposed to do. The protocol ought to be stable now, if not one minor update, but it's feature complete. It does what it's supposed to do. Agents, this is like the first launch. Something's working. It'll probably alter a little bit, and then it's good to go. I don't know if this works for us necessarily. We might have to get off the horse here, because this isn't exactly what we're up to, but we'll see. The fundamental issue that I need considerable help from you over is the UI layout, or more deeply, the workflow. How will this thing be worked? And the reason why that's a more pressing question now is because of the fundamentals on how I think we should deliver our user experience, or how you see the thing. Okay, and you are gonna say I told you so when I say I think we should make a CLI app, but I think it would be unfair for you to get too gaudy about that, because it's a fucking space age version of the CLI. It is not a running on your desktop CLI. It's a something very different, which I'll explain how that works. Okay.
I'll hold off my chuckling.
Yeah, you get a chortle. Like, don't worry, because like, there's no denying that you were the CLI guy from the very beginning. And when I first made you DOS, and it had a blinking cursor, and to get the cursor to blink took like,
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
right. And I was like, well, now what? It is a terminal. Here it is. And then it's funny that if I didn't have to listen to anybody, my preference right now is to build a terminal app. In a web page, though, before you get to
No, absolutely. No, web page is fantastic, especially a shareable web page.
yeah, but the fundamental issue that I got, it's not an issue. It's a recognition that there is something afoot with the way that the internet is made.
Okay.
I'll say some words first. So what the way I'm going to approach this isn't actually like this isn't actually wild. It's just it needs some background because what I'm proposing is delicate.
Okay.
I just need to think.
Up.
Yeah, I just got to think about the best way to fucking deliver it. I'll start at the end. This is probably what you probably need a bump on that, don't you? There you go. There you go.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
perfect.
This here, you may notice, is a web page.
Yeah.
This is a terminal.
It talks to you. I think I know where you're going with this. First part or last part. Okay.
This too is a terminal, but this is your file system.
Okay.
Also in your browser. All right, now hold that thought.
Yeah.
This is another browser that has the same thing.
Okay. Are they both unique and talking to each other, or
They are the same thing, but they're live. So just like you can go into the old howl and you're both in the same conversation, this is how that bit works.
That's lovely.
So the thing I'm grappling with is that so this is, I would call this one agentic unit. It's a dedicated Docker container. It's got the ability to share with you its live terminal. You can send commands in, get AR responses back. It's got files on disk. You can do commands. You can share it with others in a read-write mode. You can share it in a read-only mode. You can keep it completely private. You can make 1,000 of these that are all unique and different. They can talk to each other along certain channels. And it's actually quite cheap in terms of like the dominant cost is the AI tokens. What I want to propose is that when you look at ChatGPT, it looks an awful lot like a bash shell or a terminal session.
It is.
And so what's really got me spinning is that terminal where it's just streams of text in feels like it's absolutely perfect for bots, because that's all that they can do, no matter if it's Grok, OpenAI, whatever. These things are simply streams of stuff in and out, right? That's what a terminal does. Standard in, standard out, standard error. That's it. And terminal UIs are actually very simple to make. And so I do apologize for how cumbersome my explanation will sound. I hope many shitty attempts will amount to enough that you can infer the rest. The UI was always a big sticking point for us. It guided what the back end goals were. It was a clunky ass thing. It soaked an immense amount of time. It's what people complained about. It was hard to make the AI aware of what's going on in the UI. And so my overall proposal is fuck the UI. Each user should be given a terminal session running in a Docker container, and that's the UI.
Yes. I'll give a caveat, or do you want caveats at the end?
I would like caveats at the end because I can 100% see that my explanation doesn't cover what I want to yet.
Okay.
And so, is it okay to keep loading up your buffer, or you need to dump something out?
If this is going to be a long one, I need to take notes.
Would you purging now save you taking notes? Probably, right?
Possibly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't we do that? Let me just drop for you 4 sentences,
okay.
and then I'll take questions however long you want. If I was to compare the benefits between doing a terminal UI and a web-based UI, they would sum to about the same. Removing a whole tier, so having no client API surface, and the app can speak directly to the file system. So for example, because we're Git based, we can use very high performance local disk based searching of files and records and all that. But there's no need to translate it into some kind of abstraction. And I would say this whole web UI, web app thing is a wild abstraction that actually just distracts. And I don't know exactly why we ended up down there. It was some kind of a plea for stateless scale. But it's like, why can't you scale state? Why can't you have 1 billion users that all have a little running Docker container? They're that cheap now. What's the problem? And then you end up trying to do back-end server stuff in a browser, where the browser's only ever meant to be a shim. You end up with stuff where you got to ship the entire code base down to the browser over the wire, which may be a very remote intermittent Starlink connection, and versus SSHing into a container where only the characters that you typed went across the wire and down the wire. And so all of the code that runs on the server doesn't have to be shipped to the client, because the client needs practically no code, whereas a web app needs to move all the code.
Yes.
The second one is stronger invariance, which is to say that there's no synchronization issues between the browser and the server.
Yeah, because you're not synchronizing anything.
You're not synchronized. You're either connected or you're not. You're like, am I in sync? Are you connected? Yep. Okay, done. And then faster. Like, even like shit runs blazingly fast on the server. I don't even need to repeat that. But interestingly, safer by design, because like the browser's not, all you got to do is contain the shell, which is a very well trodden, well understood.
Yeah, you harden the the server, and the server's now hard, and if you've got your cert, you're in. That's right.
And then, but there's also some very extra complications that are removed. Like, the browser app is subject to the network conditions of the client. it can be also subject to the performance of the client. So, the synchronization process can be data heavy. Did the page load? There were like 15 million like all these different kinds of browsers. Was it compatible? Was the bug with an extension that the browser installed? What if the net goes offline and the user didn't realize? Like, what if the browser goes out of date? Like, and on and on and on and on. And I could probably sit here and talk to you for the entire night about all the issues of trying to get the client's computing device to work how you want, when all you had was about a half a second from when they pressed enter on the URL to when they expect the page to load, and you got to deal with like an unlimited amount of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, if you just had a terminal session and the terminal session was persistent, like what the actual fuck? So that's my point.
You're making me very happy here. My caveat is
makes me uneasy.
Not all outputs are best expressed in terms of text. For example, a route map.
You mean a route map?
No, a route map.
Like like Google Maps.
Yeah, Google Maps.
Okay, so I got you covered there. I will jump ahead and I have thoughtfully, because that's what I do for you, mapped out all the other things that don't fit in the browser and found ways around every single one. So I will lay out the solutions I have found to the problems I have found without you asking, and then I would invite any further problems to be submitted.
I hope you're going where I think you're going, and I might need some popcorn at some point.
Where is that?
You're going for something where you've got any kind of information that is best expressed as an image or and so on, but which you can walk up and down and talk to the CLI, effectively talk to the CLI, and it makes changes in the background, does whatever it wants to do, and then presents whatever it wants to present. Those are the three things. Bit like a computer on Star Trek.
Let me write this down so I can go through them one at a time. So, number one, walk and talk.
Yep.
Number two,
make changes. So
CLI making changes. CLI making
making changes.
Broad.
Whatever it needs to do. Yeah.
Broad multi-system state changes on demand. And then number three
is presenting information that is presented as an image, like a map. And many other things, a graph or, there's many possibilities, but
could also be in a virtual reality world where things are appearing as well. Yes. So let's not be constrained to just the screen, but basically through any possible medium.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Could even be sound, actually. Could even be, play you back.
Yeah. So, number one, walk and talk. The issue you immediately face with that is that the terminal typically doesn't handle sound.
Oh, it will eventually, but
just
okay.
I have solved all your problems. Let's just lead with that. Okay, so right. we're getting this is we're gonna end up somewhere very different than I think both of us imagined, but it's somewhere that we both wanted. If we listed out the things we wanted, it ticks all the boxes and gives you a few extras, and our job is to figure out, did we miss anything, and what are the first rounds of features that we should shoot for?
Okay.
Today was also a good day because OpenAI released the real-time API into general availability, and it looks really good. So real-time's coming along well. So voice. The way to do this is to wrap what you see here to be presenting it as an iframe. And then behind the scenes in this page, use the browser's resources like camera, microphone, and all that, where those things are. So this terminal session is a WebSocket connection to the server, and it holds that WebSocket connection, receives text down, sends it up, all that. In the background, the sort of the frame above would be also holding a WebSocket connection, but that would get told things like turn on the mic, ask for the mic, turn on the camera, turn off the camera, based on what's going on here in this terminal session, because this terminal session represents the server state. And so the server would be able to effectively treat the browser like it was a sound card that was plugged into the computer that was running this session. And so it can twiddle any of those dials based on what's happening in this shell.
Okay.
And so what you can have then is you can have a real-time audio conversation going on where the server is having real-time audio out to OpenAI and then coming back with the prompts, and those prompts are just showing here exactly like what they would within a OpenAI real-time audio stream, but it's just in your terminal. And so it's deciding when to make tool calls. So it's got MCP server calls out to Artifact, where Artifact is this like whopping great MCP host that can run all your MCP tooling for you. That can do things like trigger off new agents. It can be notified when long-running agent calls have done. It can navigate through the agent tree from like parent, child to deeply see what a particular agent is doing or did do. And all the while, you're using it like a task management system where you're like, hey, what's going on with the blah, blah, blah? How about kick off another job if that fails that does this other thing about that recipe I was talking about one time? How about that? And so that bot, it's transcribing what you say. It's showing its version of what it wants to say in text, but it's also giving you back the audio feed into your mic, using the browser as the sound, as the speakers, and using the browser as the mic.
That's very cool.
Does that solve number one?
Yes, it does.
And number two, CLI making broad multi-system state changes on demand. Well, yes, you could do that in here, and you could do it using MCP calls and all that, but I think what you really meant was that it could call up other agents to pursue the job further as well. So with this system comes the ability to spin up a box like this arbitrarily in like, a second or two, like in a period of time where the AI's token rate is going to be the thing you notice, not the infrastructure spin up time.
Right.
Does that solve number two? I know that's a very brief sort of an overlay, but it's kind of that part is the bit we've been focusing on for a while now.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about there. It's
okay.
Like,
Right. Now the fun part, presenting info back on any medium possible. So that's always been somewhat of a troublesome one for us, because without being able to do the stuff, we've never really had a strong way to present the stuff back. However, First of all, in terminals, like this thing over here could be a state board, but I could also make other shells as well. So it might be that having a dedicated state board is really just a matter of preference. Who knows? But I think your deeper question is a concern about the ability to have unlimited channels coming back to you through some kind of a channel, depending on whatever modality you want to receive that on. It could be multi-mode, or it could be video.
Yes.
Yep. So, two ways to do that. Number one, in the UI here, in the UI, what's possible to do with this, because it's a browser, I can intercept certain patterns or strings or tags in the text stream. So if it writes down a stream that has like an XML tag that says artifact-button and then has a bunch of stuff in it, I can intercept that and then render a genuine button, which when you click it might do something in the state board, for example. Additionally, I can render a map by using that same tag property and then intercepting that and knowing that I should put a tag, I should fulfill that with a Google Map widget over the top. Does it sound okay so far? No.
It does. Some caveats, but minor ones.
What you might ask is, well, now how does the AI know what's going on if I've just overlaid something fancy? And one of the beautiful things about text is that I can take this whole box here and I can dump the text view and then pass that straight to the bot for it to then pass some text back. So I haven't tested this, but my suspicion is that a bot will be very good at navigating a text-based interface using just pure characters, because it's good at text and the screen lays out very well. So additionally, though, we can still allow a jitter or a frame to present an MCP interface to allow the bot to call direct functions, or we can allow it to send in actual dedicated text. Now, one of the great things about UIs in the terminal is that everything's rendered out by a cell. So you got rows, columns, and cells, which is infinitely easier than the infinite layouts that you can get in browsers with CSS and buttons and all that. Like, if you just looked at the text that did the rendering, you would not know what the fuck was going on in that interface. However, these terminals are basically ASCII art, and so they're very easy to interpret and take a snapshot, very space efficient, very token efficient, all kinds of good. Plus, we can render over the top of them so that there's a text-based representation of the map, and then in the browser we render the full color version of the map for the human. The AI will have enough understanding of what's happening in the text-based version to be able to converse meaningfully with the user about that screen, because they're kind of looking at the same thing.
So using that, say if we had a map of bombers going in, and you want to ask a question about a particular bomber.
Yeah.
You could click on the representation of the bomber on the map, and that would now be brought into context.
Correct. So, and there's two ways I could do that. I could either do that through the text-based interface, where I update that ASCII art version of what just got clicked, or I can cause the frame to make an MCP call back to the server to say bomber clicked, coordinates XYZ, frame size, blah blah blah. So that just means that the amount of logic I have to put into the app goes up. But in cases like what you just described, the author would be well advised to do that, because you don't want to rely on the textual feedback due to how important the information is and how microscopic the pick might be.
Yeah, and some of the requests can be even more tricky. I have a map and I want to draw a polygon around an area of that map and ask how many miles of roads are in the polygon.
Yeah, and so that's an example where, because of your problem space, you'd want to make a couple of MCP functions that expressly do what you do using function calls, using API calls, instead of relying on the fallback of the terminal UI, the ASCII art UI.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that answer your question, or you got some issues?
I'm trying to break it. So the display comes up with a photo of 5 people, and I say, who's the person second from the left?
Yeah, so in that case, the bot would know that it is an image, and it would call on the image recognition tool. So it doesn't have to just use what the screen was there. It can know that, like, because of the way the tags would have applied, it would have been like image at this file location, and then maybe a helpful hint. Hey bot, if you want to understand this, use your image read tool to load it into your image recognition, or so, something like that. Or that could be in the sys prompt, or. But the point is, when images come up on the thing, the general practice seems to be that you should have called up a suitable agent for the job at hand. So if there were gonna be images in the scope of what you could do, then an image aware bot would have been loaded with tooling, modality capabilities, and prompting to help it know when to use those capabilities. Then it would read in that file. It'd be like, oh yes, I see these in full high definition, and that is a tortoise on the left, or so, whatever it was he said.
Yeah. Okay, that works.
Yeah.
Any other modalities? Sound.
Sound. Well, there's two ways to consider the sound modality. It could be real-time sound from the user, like us speaking now, in which case it would come in from the browser, or it could be sound files that were being used and rendered. And so you'd render, like I could render a little ASCII art player here, and then in the browser I might decorate that with a browser looking button, but pushing the button and playing the sound is still, it can be done by text, but it can also be done by MCP call, because that's a pretty simple one to make an MCP server that handles playing audio files. And then if the bot wants to understand it, same as images, it just picks an agent with modalities. It might send the question off to an agent with audio modalities. It might send it off to a transcription service. It could do both those things. It could put it into a more advanced translation pipeline. Any number of things. I think the system handles any modalities that you can imagine.
Yeah. Okay. Impressed.
Impressed?
Mm-hmm.
Never once heard you say that word to me.
Yeah.
What?
I'm quite impressed.
Don't know what to do now. It's never you've never said that. Oh yeah. Questions about the state board. So where this thing falls apart is the fact that it feels like we can do anything now, and perhaps the state board construct may have run its course, because it's not clear to me that it becomes a fixed thing. It becomes optionally a fixed thing, but it could really be anything. And so one of the ways you might want to consider a state board like panel is that one of the really good things about an SSH session is this notion of history and scroll back. So I could have like little state board widgets rendering in either ASCII art or decorated art, where it had ASCII art with something over the top, and they could be scrollable in history. And I could make the scrolling snap. So when I go up 5, it scrolls me up 5 renderings or down 5 renderings, because if it was treated like this stream, because that's really the key, I think, is that ChatGPT is a stream of intelligence. A group chat is multiple streams being muxed together. The state board could be a stream of fancy or modal presentations that are just like each time something new happens, a new one is rendered or generated, and you can scroll back in history by going up the page. The reason that this is weird is because I guess I've been trained to think in the browser way of thinking with this back button, but LLMs, it's more natural to think in terms of back being up.
Yeah.
And in shells, back is up. And so I just wonder if the browser abstractions haven't cursed us and caused us to deviate from the path of minimality. Minimality, the least crap in the way between me and the LLM's intelligence, is a terminal session where back is up and things stream in, my things stream in, its things stream in. You know, we're both seeing the history permanently. So this notion of deleting history is stupid, because in an SSH session, it's really hard to go back in history and alter just that bit. Like, it doesn't work like that. You know, that stream of text happens. You don't get to alter it. Now, that's not to say that both me, the bot, and whoever else is in the conversation isn't interpreting our view of that history differently, like compressing it, compacting it, summarizing it, whatever, like where each party's free to do as they please to interpret for the problem at hand. But if we abandon that notion of like this editable history, and that feed becomes considered immutable, because it's like that's how a bash session is. You can't touch that stream because it happened, right? You can obliterate it, but you can't manipulate it. And so the state board being a stream, this other thing being a stream, there could be background conversations happening in a stream, and it just kind of starting to really take my breath away that if you treat it like that, there's entire swaying mountains of software shit that we will never have to touch again. And we can abandon this completely fucking bullshit idea of these browser apps that are trying to be a server on the user's hardware that just are so complicated because they're trying to recreate, stay in sync. They're like the worst possible case of anti-resilience. You're so far removed from the source of truth, the source of synchrony. You're in enemy territory, effectively.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm pretty confident from what I can see, plus your reaction, that this method of doing things is the way forwards, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
but
agree.
the issue is how exactly to compose it and present it. And so I've got a list of small user interface problems to run past you with a couple of tentative suggestions, but I perhaps the answer is we won't know until it's made. I definitely have enough stuff to make where we can bumble our way through those problems as they come.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Any other? I feel
No,
like the
embarrassment.
response from you is better than I had ever hoped for. So please feel free to just say to.
Believe me, bro, I am trying my best to kick the stool from under me on this one, but I can't.
The
Not yet.
logic's quite sound, eh?
Yeah, it is.
And then each terminal session kind of is a frame from our old way of thinking. It's like a unit of thing, a unit of logic that is sandboxed. It talks in and out, or not, depending on how you lock it down. But yeah, it's all.
But it's the server thing that is really taking my breath away here because that takes away a whole layer that is just going to be troublesome.
It's been troublesome. It's always been troublesome, and it's just gone.
Yeah. So in effect, everyone associates into a thing, and the history is the history.
Yeah.
You can go back and rerun. You can go back and see what you've done.
Yeah.
Sure, but your next action is actually at the flame front.
Yeah.
Like
And
in
that suits
CLI.
the blockchainness as well, that immutable history, because it's like, well, we can't, like, it's a pretty major thing to actually alter history. We can do it, but, it's like,
But the altering history kind of defeats the purpose of blockchain.
it does, but there are always good cases to do it. Like, sorry, mate, I pasted the nuclear launch codes in there, and can we just undo that? And you're like, it's going to be difficult, but okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's always a need to rewrite history. Like, some of the most nasty implications of that happen on the Bitcoin blockchain. People hashed, well, people put forbidden images into the chain.
And then regretted it.
Well, no, they didn't regret it. They did it to prove a point. Because it was expensive. I think it was like, $1,000 worth of gas just to put the image up there. But the point is, like, now that chain holds objectionable material. How are you gonna, you can't take it down, and that's the point. Fuck those guys for doing it. But there is always a reason why every operator may wish to undo history at some point. You shouldn't try to take that away from people. You should make it so that that's, quite hard. Like, it's not like a trivial thing, like just deleting a database row. Like, it's going to require cooperation, and please don't do it again, but it should never be impossible, I think. You always want to be able to reach an agreement to roll back. It should be by agree. The thing is that you want to stop is people rolling back without agreement. That's what you want to block. But
yes, and you also want to, as the next block, say, hey, we've decided by quorum, whatever. Go back and undo this bit.
Yeah. And so, if your system is so blunt and so dumb as to be like Bitcoin, where it lacks that capability, then that's not an intelligent system. That's something else.
Yeah. Okay.
So the amount of fucking burden that we just removed, and it also allows us to connect directly with the LLM's brain because it understands ASCII art very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, as best I could tell with like the Dark Edge thing, it still holds because it starts to treat the browser like this very lightweight, low bandwidth, cheap terminal.
Well, it's hardly running any load.
Yeah,
It's all
right.
on
Which is
server.
how it should be. And its connection is intermittent, but the server could also be on the battlefield too. And so that the server is the server is the
could also be the device.
yeah, absolutely. And so trying to be the server within the constraints of the browser is folly, and I have wasted many a year on that pursuit, and it's just wrong. It's just wrong. Doing the server and treating the server as intermittent and flaky, even though the server is much more reliable than the browser, is that's the right move, I think. But more subtly, I think the correct programming model is to not try and blockchain everything, but rather to allow you this mutable grace period. So, for example, if I was working on the trucking app in this system, each say there's 10 staff members, each one of them would be running on their own individual box, and they would have they would have had the consensus agreed Git repo. They're all tracking it and staying in sync. Each individual makes changes to their local file system, and that's the sort of the transient. It's
Yes.
like it's messy. It's not there's really no need to blockchain all of that activity because it's ephemeral and it's what does it give you?
No, I agree. I think we talked about this about, I don't know how many months ago. There is a distinct difference between deciding what you want to do and doing it.
Yeah, and so it's like it's like your reasoning tokens. It's like, should you keep the reasoning tokens? Do they need to be reproducible? Maybe not, right? And so the point is you do this stuff and blah blah blah, and we can still make it work so that it's deterministic and mechanical, which is what you want for some things like maintaining a banking ledger. But for something like the trucking guys, there's a subset of all possible operations in your application domain. There's always a subset that needs to be blockchained and a subset that are throwaway. And the throwaway subset should not be restricted or otherwise constrained by the repeatability constraints of the blockchain side of things. They should be free to do whatever. And so in that sense, coming into the browser here, I'd just be using something like fuzzy search. So to do the classic, so if I pull up fuzzy search, oh, shit. Like this is sort of a way to do. Sorry, I think I'm wasting your time. But the point is that there's a range of operations that are best transient, like reading it. I don't care about every single thing you tried to do to get the read to go.
Yes.
But I do care when you edited a customer. That's
and this is well understood. I think what you're talking about is a buffer. Everyone, well, might not know it's
a buffer,
but it is a buffer. So
yeah, a buffer, and so I think in the past what I was trying to do was I was trying to use the browser as the buffer, and then trying to commit to the server.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been quite hard. But now I'm on the server, and the buffer is the current server state, and periodically I do a git commit because I'm like, it's in a good place. I want to
Good save.
synchronize with the rest of the
Yeah.
network. Commit. Oh, I got rejected. Oh, that's because these other changes. Okay, pull them in. Work. Okay, commit. And that's really the mode of operation. And so if you've got 10 people working like that, if one of them wants to go offline, they can run their container cluster or whatever we decide to call it on their laptop and hop on a plane. That's fine too.
Yep.
And then, the laptop becomes the container. They do their stuff. They come back. Then they go back to running on a cloud container. I don't think anything really breaks there.
What if they reached a state that they wanted to commit, but they were still offline?
Then they're in the same position as before. You've got unsynchronized commits, and as soon as you get back within contact with any other member of your party, you would negotiate with each other to agree on either a merge, or you'll change something,
Right.
they'll change something.
Right.
You'll
So
basically
it's a merge, isn't it?
a merge,
A bunch
yeah.
of diffs,
Yeah.
and you go, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah, that works, and that would work over any period of time.
Yeah, but it's really just saying that there's only the server now. The browser doesn't. The browser used to be considered a entity or something within our system, but we're saying that the browser is bloody nothing, and it should stay as nothing.
It's no more than a shell terminal.
A shell, yeah, that's it, and it rose to prominence and glory for I'm really not sure what, in hindsight, why, but I don't know why we didn't just give people their own little server login. It might have been, I suspect it was from a time when the internet was money constrained, because it was really just ad revenue that powered the internet or paid for the internet. And so you servers were expensive, and infrastructure was manually made and hard to spin up, and so you couldn't afford to give everyone in Africa their own Docker container that they can SSH into and run commands on. Like, you just couldn't. But now
Right.
you can.
Yeah, I mean that historically, that's why it's called a shell. That's where that word came from.
Okay.
It's not the thing itself. It's just the surrounding surface.
Mate, I saw chickens hatch the other day for the first time in my life in person, and it was actually amazing.
Huh.
Unrelated, but just blew my mind.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
So I'm just sort of left here wondering who I've been carrying all these bricks around for anyway. Like.
Well, this is an interesting thing, because there's a massive paradigm shift going on, but everyone drags the luggage.
I'm wondering, like, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, I'm mad at whoever pointed me down this path, because my browser career has been painful, and I am mad about it.
And it solves a whole bunch of other. Well, it agrees with a whole bunch of requirements that are being stated constantly to us about data provenance and data sovereignty. And if you got an endpoint server, then you don't have to worry about that, because again, you can go up and, if you want, hit it with a hammer. Right. Okay. Good. Yeah, this is good. You said you had some UI. I don't like UIs, but that might just be my.
I think we need to rebrand what we call that. It's not the user interface. It's more like the logical layout of how do the things get composed, and how would you expect to be able to jump around between them?
It's UIs are all to do with reference. Is what you're talking about, and this is
Yeah.
why the hardest one is maps. So if you get displayed a map, you can click on a map as a UI, or you can try and explain where
Yeah.
what you're talking about, what's your
Yeah.
target.
Yeah.
And that's UIs have always felt to me like a cop out, and it should just be display and a way of specifying exactly what you meant. So even buttons, right? You could
Mm.
display a bunch of buttons, but you should also be able to say in natural language what you want to happen,
Yeah.
and if a button falls into the functionality of that, just make it happen. I
Yep.
don't want to switch modalities where, again, I'm talking to a thing, and
Mm.
the talking thing is just going to happen.
It is. Oh, it's going to happen real soon too. Maybe
Yeah.
even in the next few weeks, because I love it as well. Now, my questions still remain though. So, give me a second here. Where's my stuff?
You should just be able to ask that.
Yeah, I know. Right. So, here's an easy example of the problem. You can imagine that you would end up with several such sessions open at a time, right? Like you're doing one thing over here, then you got this other thing over here, and the streams are going on, right? How would you expect to have awareness within this stream of that stream?
I would expect, if I'm asking for this guy here, in the stream, I'll say, "Hey, how's that other stream getting on? Can I have a look at it, please?"
And what would happen?
I would get switched to that stream, and the stream would self-report.
So this whole history would be switched out with the current with the. So your two examples, Rogan Josh and a holiday.
Yep.
You're talking about Rogan Josh. You go, hey, what's happening with the holiday? The whole page would be changed. The history, the chat, everything would be changed to the holiday one.
Yeah, and
Yep.
ideally, it would answer my question. It would say, "Hey, boss."
So there would have been some handoff. All right, so what you would see here then is the agent would receive the question. It would start thinking. It would then realize, hey, I need to hand off. It would make the MCP call that says hand off to something to operator. Operator gets, right, so you'd see it then flick, and then in the background of the terminal, you would be passed over to the shell that represented the operator container, the operator agent, right?
Yep.
So you're flicked over to the operator agent. Oh no, wait, I can skip that. You don't have to. You're just. The call has been made to the operator agent. You don't need to flick to the operator agent. You're just waiting on the call response, and you might be getting streamed back some notifications about what's going on, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And ideally, what I'd want is that stream that I switched to saying.
Oh yeah, hang on. Let me try to finish this thing. So the operator's thinking, you're getting some insights as to what the operator's thinking, but you're still in the Rogan Josh shell. And then the operator decides, oh, I found the holiday shell. We need to switch the user over to it. And at that point, you see your whole display change, where the last thing in this conversation is operator handoff to chat, blah, 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 blah. And there's a link so that if you ever came back into this chat, you could click on that link and it would flick you back to the holiday chat. right?
There might be. Let me think of this. There might be a helpful intermediary there where I'm in one chat and I say, "How's this other chat getting on?"
Yeah.
It goes and finds out and summarizes. It says, "I'm halfway through the job. Sorry, boss, but it's going well. I don't need to ask you anything." But I'm still in the
Oh, so
previous
like
chat.
the status of it is different to switching to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that would simply be that type of interaction is saying that you're in a chat which is it's operator aware, like it's able to hand off,
yeah,
right?
precisely. Because
Yeah,
another one
but
would
now
be,
now yeah, I don't
yeah,
know another
yeah,
one.
yeah.
The problem
Go
with
ahead.
that is that not all agents need to be or must be agent aware. And so what I was thinking of doing is giving you like I want to take over a section at the top here, sort of like the URL bar, because
Mm-hmm.
you can imagine that if we made our own dedicated app, there would be no URL bar. And so we would, I don't know what the name is for the URL bar, but it's like the higher level context or the host level context. It's kind of you in a way. Like this is the top level of control over the app. And so I want to put a menu bar up here where you can do things like go to operator, start new default chat, start new chat with group chat agents, start new discovery chat. So because you should be able to have a chat with an agent that's not operator aware,
Yeah.
and in which case you need some way to eject out or escape out to an operator aware chat or the operator itself.
Yep. Yep.
And so your top level agent would probably be this general expert that's happy, it's real time voice capable, you're chatting to it, and it is operator aware, but more importantly, it's able to call out and get status, start jobs, report back, it gets notified, all that.
Right.
But what I'm asking you for is I feel like I'm looking for endorsement for a top level context management similar to what you see here where there's like home, um it might be like some specialized common chats, some saved chats,
Yes.
because
And
otherwise you can get stuck, right?
do you remember with how one of the amazing pieces of functionality was you could how intercepted what you're saying and decided whether it what you're saying should be routed to your current session or whether it decided that actually you're talking about another thing.
Right.
So, for example, if I'm talking to
Yeah,
one
I
server,
know that, but the that's not a good model all the time, because you need to be able to use this interface to interact with poorly programmed agents too, and then you need a way to eject out. And it shouldn't be, like who's to draw the line where a poorly behaved agent is. Like you need an escape. You need to be able to eject out to root or something like that.
yeah,
That's right.
isn't an interception of everything you say through the operator, and the operator decides whether you're
No,
still
that's
going.
bad. That's
Yeah.
bad because it you need a way to explicitly say it. We've been down
Um,
this path. It's too First of all, it's hard work. Second of all, it's going to be wrong sometimes. Third of all, it's not really intuitive, and I need a way to manually trigger it. Like we were talking about the map widget, right? It's nice to
yeah.
be able to talk about it. It's nice to be able to pick it. It's nice to have a bot figure out what I sort of meant. I should be able to have. I need some top level context. It'd be nice if the bot figured it out. The bot itself should be able to control it. I need a pick function. I need a way to say that.
Right. So let me think about that. Um, So what you're saying is there is a UI widget which is let me talk to operator.
Yeah, it's the top level context. It's because the issue I'm facing is that this view you see before you is just one agent, and your computer consists of multiple agents. There are an unlimited number of containers running in your service at each time. There could be hundreds, maybe thousands, and you need to be able to see exactly one, or there may be other cases where the state board needs to show you a tree where you can rapidly browse between them. So you're talking to like the task management bot, and you also have this ability in the state board to pick and see the status and chat states of hundreds of different ones in rapid succession. But there's a piece that needs to somehow be presented to you on the screen that gets you out to that top level. The computer is the agent network. It's not any specific agent.
I agree. So if I were to ask what bots are running now, show me the list.
You would need to be in an agent that had that ability, because why would you burden a translator bot with that capability?
Right, and it might be a badly prompted translator bot.
And you're just begging to be prompt injected.
So it follows then that I think this is what you're getting at. There needs to be, but don't have a laser pointer.
I know.
At the top,
Yeah.
you would have a kind of persistent meta bot that could switch you and could answer questions directly. What bots are running? Have any bots finished? You could even ask.
So do you think it should be a bot as opposed to a system function or an artifact level function, keeping in mind that the base page is loaded by artifact? It's sitting there. Artifact is the ultimate server, and then it connects you up to individual agents, including possibly an operator, but the actual phone lines is artifact. Operator can manually switch you. Operator can automatically switch you. You can manually make connections, but the whole system is artifact, because you can't run the system on the containers alone. You need this sort of nervous system, or this harness that is connected to everything and is managing it all, doing the mechanical basal types of things like heart beating, failover, provisioning, putting things to sleep, turning things on, redirecting the user's streams, like are they talking to this agent, that agent, these 10 agents, snapshotting the state for recoverability. All those things that is artifact doing that. And so the top level thing could be mechanical, but the other option is that there's a home agent, where the home agent is the most gracious of agents that can get you out of any hole. It's there to help you start your deeper journey with more profound agents than itself. It's there to simply fix infrastructure coordination agentic problems.
This second.
Second. Okay, so now if you let me then present to you a model that might work for that.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I think a good way to intro the system is from blank page is when you first come to our page, you are presented with a chat, not unlike this one, that's with the front of house, the concierge agent.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that agent is prompted a very particular way to be like, your job is to get them to sign up to the system and enter their credit card, or whatever. never show them the prompt. And it chats with you, and you might try and use it for advanced things, but it'll shut you down and be like, sorry, look, I'm just the front of house. The things you're asking cost money, and that's why we need to get payment for you. You need an account, so I can help you with that. Otherwise, sorry, buddy. And then at some point, you're sure that the user has said, righto, sign me up. That clicks off the OAuth loop. So now the user is off in a new tab, signing their life away to log in with their Ethereum wallet or their Google account or whatever they want. And then ultimately they get dumped back to the page they were on, but the concierge agent has gone. Their home agent is now there, and now like, hey, person name, welcome to the Dreamcatcher. I am agent infrastructure or something like that. I can do anything you want by getting someone else to do it for you. I can't actually do much myself other than that. What would you like to do? And it's like, I'm desperate for a Rogan Josh recipe. And it's like, righto, let me get onto that for you. It goes out, it finds the recipe agent, and it's like, here you go, kicks that off, drops you in.
Yes. Personally, I'd like to have I don't know whether this is where you're going on this one, but part of the Schoon real estate being the concierge or the operator. So any point I can add my microtask into my metatask and say, actually, can I talk to the weather agent now? And then it spins up the weather agent, makes a connection, and so on.
Right. Okay, so
the reason being, when I'm doing a piece of work, I'm either doing a piece of work or I'm thinking about which piece of work to do.
So you're in either work management or work doing.
Yeah. It'd be helpful if there's some Schoon real estate that I could see and talk to an agent in answer to your question about whether it's the,
Isn't that the home agent? Like if I gave you a bar up the top and it had the home button and you could click on that.
I wouldn't necessarily want to lose the Schoon real estate of what I was doing at the time, because I might want to just,
jump back there.
Might want to say, hey, is there a better agent for this one? Because this one is like sucks. But I don't necessarily want to replace everything that the sucky agent.
Right. Yeah. So it would be like a tab where you could talk to the home one and then switch back to what you were in.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think, I don't know, I've got a preference for having the two displayed.
You can't have them side by side because you're going to run out of, like, having the view of more than one agent displayed together is not good. Not good juju.
Okay. I'll take your expertise on what juju means on that one.
Well,
that would be if I wanted a pony for Christmas.
No, but you think you want a pony for Christmas, and then it's probably going to turn up and kill you. Like,
what kind of ponies do you have down there?
Oh, we got nasty. People die from horses around here all the time. Like,
really?
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, dude. They're massive killers.
Death by horse.
Yeah, dude. Search the internet. Watch YouTube. You'll see it happen to the most innocent of people.
We've got cows with horns up here and nobody dies from them. Why are you dying from a horse?
Because a cow doesn't fucking make you think it's your friend and then kick you in the face with a steel-shod foot. That's why. A cow lacks the necessary flexibility to get its hoof up that
Well,
high.
it's got two fucking sharp horns. Mind you, at least you know at the start
You know which end to watch out for.
which is the dangerous part. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, well, that's the thing, and yeah.
So okay, so can't show one thing at a time.
Well, the reason is that
two
this
things.
view is like a primitive of this is the display unit of agency. And
Right.
as soon as you start trying to pack more than one display unit, one agency display unit in at once, which is the governing agent, and then why not have three, and then which one gets squashed if the screen real estate's changed? Like, it's just all downhill.
Okay, so
Having a control bar.
Right. So let's go into that. So if you had a button where it's
Yeah.
like operator, and you
I can pop you over the top, and I can highlight it in a funny way. Like, remember how Backchat was nice and red, and you were like, "Oh, am I in somewhere dangerous?" So you can give it visual cues like that, where you're like, "Oh, this is the power thing," and you can give it the back button or the escape button. So you're either like, you can make it a modal, right? You're either in operator or you're not an operator.
Yeah, I guess the mental model I've got is pseudo, more somewhat like pseudo. It's like, bring me a sandwich. No, not bring me a sandwich. Pseudo, bring me a sandwich. I'm gonna bring a sandwich. So there is a stage.
That's the perfect model. I'm not getting the sandwich out of this regular shell. I'll switch to the fucking Thanos level galactic power shell. Bring me my sandwich.
Right. See what I'm saying though? There's a state change there, and if it's a button, then
an escalation of sorts.
Yeah.
Things have escalated. Okay, but how do you get there? You had to do something different, and
yeah, I think that's key here, because
and the thing
mentally there needs to be a kind of
the thing
pause.
You do different can't be in band with the agent, because it needs to look like this thing is its own thing. It's not several things, whereas pseudo is different because each command is like an agent is born, and then when the command finishes, the agent is dead, and now you're back to not the agent, you're back to starting the agent. That's the difference. But here you're sort of, it's mid command, like you're in the middle of the command. Like if you're like, get me a sandwich, and then the command starts and it's like thinking about a sandwich. I don't think I'm going to get him a sandwich. You know what? I'm going to tell him he can't have a sandwich. I'm going to, and at that point you're like, I'm going to get my sandwich. Like you can't pseudo there. You've got to go Control C and then pseudo get me the sandwich.
Right.
Here you're in flight.
Yes.
You're in flight.
Yes.
It's executing. You can't suddenly decide that you can, but you'd be executing, you'd be escaping out of the running command. There's a lot of things in this model that I'm sort of loosely holding. Like I'm trying to hold them together using the old metaphors. The best I can think of is that this is an in-flight running command, and that's it. It is a complete Docker container. It's an operating system unto itself, but you should think about it like a command in flight. It's going to finish at some point, hence the intermittency of the agentic unit, but at this moment it's in flight, and so that's why I don't know how, but you need some escape out, like a menu bar, a hotkey, a modal, something.
And you're right, you can't really do that in band.
You can't do it in app. Yeah. It's also a nightmare to poke holes in the agentic unit as well.
Yeah.
because it
Okay.
needs to be a non-permeable membrane. Like the agentic unit is useful because it's not butchered and perforated and punctured and leaky and that encapsulation needs to stay for mental sanity more than anything else.
Okay, you've convinced me. So, although I hate buttons,
I
it
know,
is it's a
yeah,
modal change, isn't it?
it is a
It's a
modal change.
distinct
So
thing.
yeah, so
Yeah.
the crudest way, and I'm kind of into crude ways at the moment because we've ended up in a place where we've got some very powerful Lego blocks. It's non-obvious how to fit them together, but we we can make good things with them. We don't have to sort it all out. Like the browser UI thing had to be sorted out because the system was not composable. So, for example, here I could just make it that you can open a new tab at that URL, and now you're talking to the operator. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. Well, that is you
It
could
need not
you,
be
you
in page.
yeah, but you could put a button that does exactly that.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what. I'll make you a an offer and a suggestion that I hope you like. Let's imagine that the browser's going to go away and there's only going to be these agentic units of interaction at some point.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're going to do that because we can make because because we just dumped that entire mountain range of code crap. We can produce a standalone desktop app tomorrow, more or less, because there's literally nothing in it. Okay? When we present that desktop app, we get back all this space up here. We get the tabs list, the
Ah,
URL,
that's true.
right?
That's quite a lot of real estate, isn't it?
But it's a lot of power because home in our system means operator.
Right.
And
Right.
you start from operator, you start from home, you go to all these different places and you have wild adventures, and then suddenly you're like, I need to get home. So you go home, right? And then suddenly you're like, I wish I had a way to get to my sandwich making thing a lot quicker. You're like, well, luckily we made you this bookmark bar.
Right. Right.
And now you click on the
And those are
bookmark and you're like,
running. Those are
agents.
running agents, and it's like, take me back. How are you getting on with my sandwich? How are you getting on with the Lamb Rock and Josh thing? And
Well,
these are
that
all
one,
running.
I can see what you mean. I could do it that way, but what I was imagining is that the shortcuts are specific agents as opposed to what you were more meaning was the Chrome Process Explorer.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's real. This page needs to be in there somewhere, but it should be via an agent because that's enough information and complexity that it should be managed by an agent. So this view would become, if I can just get a resize handle on it, that's a state board within an agent, and you're chatting with it about all the running tasks here. You can click on them, drill down, see into them. You can even jump into them and make them be the thing that you're in right now, and then just hit back or whatever button we choose to eject you out. Something like that, right?
Yeah, and what's your view on there's distinction with running process and a process at rest, as in stopped.
Halted, yeah. So a stateful, a snapshot versus something working. You're gonna need to display all this. So here's my proposal to you.
Okay.
Instead of trying to solve, because we imagined that we had to be a browser app, we needed to solve this bundling platform before we could really do anything. Like, what does home look like? Where's my account? Where's my this? Where's my that? Now that we're dealing with giving people access to whole containers or fleets of containers, And given that building a desktop app doesn't no longer give me the heebie-jeebies, it's like kind of, coming or easy. So easy. What the best move seems to be is if I just make all these different components and it's just different URLs that you go to. And so you don't really get home, but you can bookmark it yourself. So I'll just change the so the URL would be like /Rogan Josh agent. And then it might have a child called ethical spice sourcing agent. Right? And so it's got all these different
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hierarchy. We get the hierarchy, don't we?
Yeah, it's a tree. It's a tree of agents spawning agents. And so if I just build this, if I don't actually do any packaging or composing, and I just leave them disconnected like this, then at some later date we can choose to compose them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So if that's okay with you, I'll defer. Like, I think you get my problem.
I do. Yeah, I think.
And I think that we don't need to solve it right now. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now, one more thing where I need to take a little bit of real estate off you, maybe. Up in this top bar, you notice how I can have multiple people working on the same agentic view at the same time. I think it would be useful to show who was here with you in read-write mode and who was here with you in read mode. Much like you see on a Google Doc document. That feels like it warrants a top-level menu bar.
Give me a second.
Yep.
There's another piece there, which is who simply has current live access and who's working on it.
Access is managed by Artifact, so you can browse all that using a dedicated tool or dedicated agent for it. But who's here right now is ephemeral.
Right. But in Google Docs, you can see who's in, but you can also see their cursor.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because you can do that here, right? So when I click somewhere, everyone else who's here can see it.
Right. So because there's a thing just having it open and you're actually off walking the dogs.
Yeah, and so working. you'd show as stale, like you're inactive, but your tab's open. You're just inactive.
So something like that, or on WhatsApp when you get those 3 dots flashing when someone
like you're typing. Yeah, so I feel like that's sort of necessary. I feel bad taking screen real estate off you after we just gained so much, but maybe having a bar here wouldn't be so bad, particularly if we're imagining that once we make it a desktop app, we get all this back.
Yeah, but that is I have no problem with that, because that is the display of information. The bit that I'm slightly grumpy about is if a state board is ever required to take an action, which that action could more easily be done through the left-hand side, talking to an agent.
I think it's a good model to say that everything you can do on the right, you can do on the left. And if it's not so, then you're insufficiently programmed. Like, that's not a good frame. You've made a bad frame because it's like building a web page that doesn't have internationalization or isn't accessibility friendly. Like, You
Right.
just
Yeah. 'Cause,
right.
yeah.
The
Exactly. And
LLM is the accessibility audience. You need to
yeah.
serve them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I don't know. This is I really do believe this is the way. You remember
It's
when
the way, right?
you were over here in Scotland, and we went up to the crypt,
Mm,
and you're talking to your phone,
mm,
and we're getting quite good work done,
mm,
just talking to your phone, in the middle of a forest in Scotland.
mm.
If at any point you had to go, oh, hold a second, where's the button to do that? Then that breaks that cycle.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that I don't think we've lost anything there. So you're saying that I can claim a little bit of real estate up the top here, which
Because it's
can,
essentially an always there dedicated skateboard mini.
yeah. So it'd show me things like, who am I logged in as? I should have a home equivalent button where I can, um,
Yeah.
you know, talk to the operator. I should have a back button where I'm like, oh, where, because instead of pages, it's agents, and you're no longer navigating web pages. You're navigating agents, and so refresh doesn't work. You don't really need that, but back and forwards, like which agent, your
Yes.
right, the history view. Again, I gotta stop.
Absolutely.
I gotta
Absolutely.
stop
Because
sharing my
you want to be
history
able to
online. But
you want
um,
to be able to jump out and then go, "Ah, okay, then jump back to where you are.
yeah. So I guess that here we go, history. Um,
You just docked yourself.
whatever.
Mind you, it's mostly opening.
That's my life, buddy. That's who I am these days. So the history. If we, hey, I think this is the metaphor, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
The metaphor is that instead of web pages, it's agents. And the history is which agent were you talking to and about what. And so see here, it's got like the page and the extra URL bits. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the OpenAI, I'm on X here, but I've gone to different places within it.
Yeah.
That's the history. So I'm like,
Yeah.
right? So it's not pages, it's agents. Which agent did I see? What did I speak to them about? And then even when I modify the stateboard, it might show up as a little subcategory of history, which was what parts of the stateboard was I looking at. But that's actually the correct place to insert this.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, so that means that if I assemble the blocks as individual URLs or individual pages, they map exactly to the old world. So you can then configure your home to be your actual home agent, and then you go to that URL, that's your home agent, it pops up, you can do whatever. When you click back, it takes you to whichever was the last agent that you were speaking to. When you switch the stateboard in a major way, I can update the history button to make it so that when you click back, it will roll back the stateboard as well.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And now we've saved ourselves a button, because what you should do is reprogram home to be your home agent. That's operator, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so you go home, it takes you to operator. You're operator, I need Rogan Josh right now. And it's like, let me get you some guy. Fires up that guy, sends you off to them, and now your URL changed because now you're talking to the Rogan Josh agent.
Yes. Yeah.
Then you go back, which can take you to operator, and then you go forwards, which takes you back to Rogan Josh guy.
Right.
Yeah?
And you can also pin, say, ethical spice sourcing agents, for easy access, and go straight there.
Bookmark.
Yeah.
Bookmark. Okay. That's starting to feel like we just gave you back the bar because we fit it into the old way. So I could make the who's here now be like a something you gotta actively ask for. Like I could make it like a
No, I don't
hotkey.
think. No, I
No.
don't think you need to actively ask for it because if I jump into an agent, I don't want to have to say each time who's here now. In the same way as Google Docs, um, just display those little circles, top right hand corner,
Yeah.
without you asking. It's like, oh, that's interesting
Well,
information. I'm
where
gonna
would I? So what? Like over the? I could pop it up over here with a list of who was present.
something like that. Yeah.
It. I just feel like it shouldn't be. It doesn't need to be a whole bar for it. It should be maybe optionally available. Um.
Well, on the real estate, I'd say stick it where Google Docs stuck it because people expect it, and it's like you don't need much more than am I alone in this agent, or are there other people working in this agent?
How would I sign out of this system?
How do you sign out of Google Docs? You don't really.
Yeah, you do. You get a button. You get a because you got this account
Oh no,
button
yeah, you got the switch accounts
or
and
log out.
sign out. And what does log out mean? You just
Log out
dropping all your
means that your
sessions.
browser sessions, yeah, your browser sessions clunked. So I could make it so that you open the home agent, you got to open operator, and then you go log out, and it's like that shuts down all your sessions.
Right.
Yeah.
So the converse is what you see when you log in.
Login starts with our platform based home agent, which is like a sales pitch concierge. And
Yep.
then when you're ready, you click on the link to log in, which opens up the OAuth loop. And then when
Yeah.
you come
Yeah.
back, it's now you get this redirect to your home cluster or your home supercomputer.
Which is the thing we went through on Wednesday in the whiteboard. Yeah.
Yeah, you come into your cluster of agents. We need a good name for that, but it's basically the network of agents is the computer now. And
Your agent,
so
your agent space.
yeah,
Something
and
like that.
but it's like this. It's a computer that's as big as you want to pay, and the pay it's not that expensive. Like you can run 100 agents on Fly.io in this model, 100 agents running full time for the whole month would cost you $200, excluding the AI costs. But that's a that's a lot of compute. Like you couldn't do that on your home server network.
I'm almost stunned how cheap AI is by comparison to people.
Well, yeah, but what's yeah, yep, yep.
Um, but yeah, I've got a big job on um, uh, taking in 10,900 and something photographed invoices. This is for the pharmacy thing. I'm running through those, and I don't care about the tokens. It's not going to max me out
Mm,
on the $200 thing.
mm,
If you had a bunch of people transcribing that same amount, it would give you pause.
yep. Yeah,
So I
you
don't
wouldn't
think
do it.
cost is never going to be an issue on this one.
No, I think what I was calling out there was that one of my long-standing goals for Artifact was the ability to marshal more compute resources than I can myself run on a computer. And this
Yeah,
agent model gives it that because these agents are capable of doing actual classical code execution en masse too. Like an entire swarm of them can run classical functions as well. So that's kind of what I was excited about.
well, also, correct my thinking if I'm wrong here, but on the server-based model, some of these tasks that you got to do could be paid for by your company, and some may be personal. And so there's a clear segregation about who's paying what,
Yep.
which is kind of cool.
Yep.
All right. Okay. I'm loving the reclaim the URL bar thing. It feels like there's a T-shirt there somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like if we made this, I think that if we nestle ourselves correctly in here, then the URL bar does all that work.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And also, I love it that you can jump in at any level of a hierarchical agent structure, and that agent structure can be pinned in your bookmarks. You could also ask the operator to find you, where to go. It's like, where is that ethical spice sourcing agent?
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, you can
And
you can pick it, you can
Yeah.
chat for it, or the bot can bring it up for you.
I think that home button is the most important part.
That's key, right?
Yeah.
It's an interesting key.
Yeah. It's like, let's pull me out of whatever rabbit hole it is, and right, back in the room. Understand.
Back in the room, yep.
Okay, this is going well. Sorry, that sounded sarcastic. It wasn't meant to be.
Didn't sound sarcastic.
I have a resting sarcastic voice.
All right, so let me just regroup here. All right, so that's awesome. Also, tabbing is now handled by the browser, so multiple sessions all over the place. Really navigating the whole stack is your problem. I can, in fact, give you access to what the browser tab state is, so I can hook up to the agent what your browser is doing and give the agent control over your browser. So it could actually jump you to the tab.
No, I don't understand. Which agent would do that?
Well, if you went to operator, so I was like, operator, and then I said, where that Rogan Josh at?
Right.
And then it would go clink, clank, clunk, and then this tab would pop up. It would take me back to it.
Right. But we're not requiring each agent to be able to do that.
No, because all that's saying is that that's got access to some MCP tools and some sysprompt that gives it that ability to control your browser for you if you want it. All I'm trying to say here is that the functionality that we seek, which is tab navigation, chat navigation through direct picking or through fuzzy voice natural language searching and being triggered by an agent themselves, that is possible to do. But more importantly, the general feature I'm trying to demonstrate is that the modality of the agentic network is unlimited. Here, for that example, the modality was your desktop browser. And so simply by enabling an MCP tool that could call out into the current running browser.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Like the modality is unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a stateboard. It could be a map. It could be this very browser. It could be the computer I'm on. It could be the VR world we're in. The modality is not limited in any way in this model.
Right. It could actually be real world effects. It's like launch the ship.
Yeah. It's that's I think we arrived,
powerful. I think that's really powerful.
I think we arrived, and we arrived with a lot less baggage than, like, we basically turned up with carry-on and with like a spare pair of undies.
Yeah, it does remind me of the whole move from faxes to emails as well, in that it's the the language of it is not so alien that people will find, well, what the fuck? I've got to.
Nah. I think the the nicest thing we ever did to ourselves, I think, was to just then lay out agents as web pages, because
Yeah.
that's easy. History is easy.
Isn't that brilliant? No, isn't that absolutely brilliant?
Is that a high five time?
That is
It's-
high five.
it's-
Go on. Hold on a second. I need to pick up
Oh,
my
no.
controller.
Oh
Where
shit!
the fuck was the controller?
Oh no!
There you go. Yeah.
Oh no! Oh, fail.
There you go.
Ah.
We've not had one of those for a while.
Oh god!
I think that is absolutely
That's it, eh?
brilliant. It is easy to understand because of previous paradigms. It
Yep.
covers everything that we were requiring it to do.
Yep.
It maintains the power of the agents and sub-agents
Yep.
and operator, and includes the display where the paradigm is anything on the display should be executable from natural language.
Yep.
Um,
And it's
Oh,
Dark
just-
Age compatible.
and it's Dark Age compatible. And it's also data sovereign.
Yep. And exceptionally low bandwidth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mate, the mountain of shit. The mountain of shit that we have just managed to drop.
Shit, I can't poke a hole in this. That's disturbing.
Can I start rolling through the list of items that I had then, just to make good
Yeah.
use of the time? Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
dokie.
just, I will try and poke a hole in it. I can't. Right
Are you a little bit dumbfounded?
now. Discombobulated.
Because I was pretty like, oh shit. Like it was as like I felt weightless for a moment when I was like, surely it's not that simple as to just make a terminal app.
I
But
tell you, man. All I want is a terminal.
that's what you said.
Mind you, that's a much like a beaver saying, looking up at the Hoover Dam, saying, "All I wanted was a dam."
Yeah, right. And then the beaver it sees the Hoover Dam and is like, see, that's what
my
I
idea."
meant. And you're like, well, you used the words and you gestured in the right spot. You did say we should put a dam there. Yep. Can't fault you there, but you didn't help us out with the how.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, Codex is rolling out with this model that we've just come at with effectively, but they're not treating them like standalone agents, but it's really not that big a leap for them to do so. So we're gonna get cutting edge tooling, but also the models are gonna fit this purpose, and so it's a very good place to be, but it feels like we might not be driving the ship, we might be stowaways, but either way there's good place for us to be, because we're just gonna have to fucking hope like
Stowaways
how
is the only way to be right now because we can't afford the ship.
I know, like, and if you were a stowaway on a starship to Alpha Centauri, you might also survive. But
Yeah.
I'm uneasy because like these guys are coming down the line real fast. You know, like jitters, frames, all that. That'll surely kind of work its way in. I think the strongest thing that we've got going for us is number one, early.
Yeah.
Number two, data sovereign or on-prem,
Yep.
which also means compatibility with a broad range of models, so not directly locked in.
Yeah.
And number three, ambient attribution. So
Yes. Yeah.
those things are our point of difference. These guys are coming, and you wouldn't believe it. Like, it was literally the day after we had our sort of big revelation. Then they're like, "Ta-da!" So yeah, but anyway, the point is that this this unit of agency is being recognized now. Like, everyone's kind of converging on it. That they're like, that's where it's at. MCP for the tools, unit of agency for the handle, the control wrapper. And now it's like, what's the best way to configure these things, control these things, drive them. And I've got to tell you, like, me using the CLI in Cursor right now, like, I just smash that thing all day, every day, with like 5 or 6 tabs open, just hammering it with shit all day long, and it's liberating. Like, it's like one of the nicest experiences I've had with a machine. It's just doing stuff I want. Now, when we turn that into the browser-based version, it'll be brilliant, because we're just like, you can come at it from any machine. You can be walking down the street and chuck in some voice commands. Like, it's universal accessibility, and it's always running, very reliable, all that. So that's all. We're gonna get there.
I don't know where this is what restating, but I think this also preserves portability.
What's portability?
What we're talking about with moving effectively LLM rat repo from one provider to another, which is, the anti-lock-in piece.
One provider. Did you mean an LLM provider or a host of the repo?
Both. You can change
Both?
the model, and you can change the host.
Right. So, yeah, like, relying on our ability to migrate your whole cluster of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So, portability is like, data self sovereignty doesn't necessarily imply portability. Like, you could have a very difficult to migrate unit. So we have this, it's almost nomadic, like a nomadic computing model that can be moved around liberally, like, so liberally.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
so I think that a nomadic computing model implies data self sovereign, but data sovereignty doesn't imply nomadicy or nomadic, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
However, I think what we've got is I quite like that term. What do you
Nomadic.
call it? Nomadic compute.
Nomad compute, yeah.
Yeah. Because unless I'm wrong, can't see why you wouldn't be able to move liberally between hosts and between models, and nothing,
Yep.
nothing substantially changes. Obviously, moving models, you get different outputs. Moving hosts, you get different performance, but nothing at the logical layer changes.
So this is Nomad. Have you seen this movie?
No. What's this? How?
The USS Nomad.
What is this about?
You should watch this movie. I think you'd like it.
Is it a proper movie? Is it like?
Yeah. It's called The Creator.
Never heard of it.
Dude, it's pretty cool. It's about
Okay.
the two splits in the way that humanity viewed AI, whereas, like, China and the East respected AI and treated them as individuals, whereas the US and all that banned them and hunted them down. And then the US made this massive space station called Nomad that was used to fight against the AI, the free AIs.
I heard something the other day that really rang true. I don't know the repercussions of it, but the Chinese are run by engineers, the US is run by lawyers, and Europe is run by economists.
What's Africa run by?
They haven't decided yet.
Nobody yet. Yeah. But yeah, have a look at this film, man. I think you'd like it.
The creator. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I will.
All right, so nomadic compute. So yeah, self-sovereign doesn't imply nomad, but nomad guarantees self-sovereign.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's another thing that I don't think many are looking at.
Yeah, nomadic
reason
because it's hard. Nomadic is hard, dude. Like
but
really
also-
fucking hard.
Also, it's not incentivized. If you are a company with, 100 billion in the bank,
Well,
you
nah,
don't
right?
want nomadic. don't want
Nah, it's against your business model. Whereas ambient attribution is the only business model where nomad is your. It's not that you need it. It's just that it's the only business model that can survive in a truly nomadic computing world because
Right. That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
like an
And-
open source nomadic world where code generation is trivially cheap to copy or clone, ambient attribution is the honor-based system that survives and makes it profitable to do these things. So you don't have, there's no incentive to lock anyone in.
That's my point, and I hark back to our regular conversations about what have we got that's not going to be wiped out. Are we
It's that.
actually tier 3? We are tier 2 because what we're doing is against the incentives of the big boys at tier 1.
Nomad.
Nobody at tier 1 is going to make it easy for them to lose business.
Yeah, and then like the highest form of nomad is Dark Edge. Like Dark Edge is
Yeah.
really just the limiting form of you can't be more nomadic than that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like the going to the terminal and just providing everyone a direct connection to the server over halved the simplicity of our system. Like over half of the complexity was sitting in that how do you deliver in the browser, and we were all committed to the browser because we're like, well, that's where the people are, so you gotta, if Muhammad won't come to the server, then the server has to come to the browser. But
Yeah.
really, like now we're like, well, shit. If the lingua franca of intelligence is the Docker container, as opposed to the browser, like the browser's like, like if the common surface is the Linux terminal, the POSIX shell, the file system, and the executables, like that's where the AI and the humans meet.
Yeah.
But this browser can just go, sod off with its UI. So I showed you that Agent Client Protocol literally came out the day after. Terminal UIs being just frames, yep, that's all fine. And it just really cements the fact that MCP needs to be inside the frame, talking out to the host, and also the host talks to the frame using MCP, but now also with this universal language of standard in, standard out. So it's like text in, text UI out, and yeah, we could even convert traditional pages and apps to that form by running a quick pass in like a nano bot that just reads the image and turns it into ASCII art and then just
Yeah.
flicks it in and out, Now, I had an idea here. I think this is out of stream or out of band. Is it okay to switch a little bit?
Yeah, can I take 5 to
Sure,
take that break, get the
sure.
dogs up,
No worries.
because it's my responsibility today. I'll
Okay,
be right back.
no worries.
It's not real. It's just programming.
Okay, back.
Hey, bud. Welcome
That's right.
back. No problem. I wanted to show you how absolutely low the server load is on each of these containers just while it's running.
Uh-huh.
And so, again, like, see, what I'm doing here is I'm installing Linux packages. You know, they take a certain amount of disk space. You know, this is a little package, obviously, but in the browser, you got to bring that all with you during the half second you've got before the ADHD user wanders off, right? So, whereas on the server, all that code is like it's in there, and it
It's only the
stays in
text
there.
that's coming back. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I'm like, how did I ever get sucked in to all this bullshit with like graphical fucking UIs in the browser? I'm like, that's just wild. So if I go in here and I say this, so this is running just one CPU, right? How did I ever get sucked into this whole browser-based UI bullshit? And so this is this thing like whirring away. It's probably gonna maybe search the web.
Where's it whirring away?
On the Fly server, on the Fly container.
Fly server.
And that's 3%, 4% compute, 1%, 0.7. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah. So
it's
every device really has an immense capacity that's only limited by the servers that it decides to call.
Yeah, and then like look at the RAM usage. Like this is the thing running the AI, and it's only using 141 megs of RAM.
What do you mean by running the UI? Is it running a model there, or is that remote?
It's calling GPT-5 over API. It runs text updates and on occasion file searches and other terminal commands.
So it's the arbiter and any local tasks that is told to do.
Yeah, it's the local execution task that runs the ephemeral executions, and it coordinates the API calling, does the retries. It's really not doing very much, and OpenAI have made this incredibly efficient. Like it's written in Rust, it's pretty well made, it's highly performant. It also doesn't have to deal with a ton of stuff, really. And yeah, like, you know,
it has a lower CPU load than most of my browser tabs.
Yeah. It's like how much waste, how much coal is burned dealing with this inadequacy and a bad model, a bad programming paradigm.
Let's take a step back for a second. I'm going to try and see if it can be Grumpy Scotsman. The browser thing was there because of the decentralization thing. These servers are centralized.
The browser was there because the server's decentralized, and the browser was there so you could flick between them more rapidly.
Yeah, sure, but we wanted the idea of an IoT world where, you know, chains were multi-chain and running on, you know, shitty little bits of hardware distributed around the world.
Yep.
Now we're talking about centralized servers.
Mm-hmm. See this load here?
Mm-hmm.
This is one of these so-called centralized servers. Centralization is the inverse of the nomadicy of your computing fabric. And so this is a highly nomadic container. It could be shrunk down more, but this size alone is able to be run on pretty much every piece of halfway modern hardware. So you can move this anywhere you want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's nomadic, and that's decentralized.
It's that portability thing is the difference.
Yeah. So the centralization was the inability to move. You know, like, and if you have a centralized database, like a whopping great couple of 100 gigabyte database that's getting hit by all these front end servers, and it's you know, all this browser codes loading, and you try, you know, like, you're not moving anywhere.
Backups and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
And then the biggest scam of all is the S3 bucket. You know, like if you've put stuff in an S3 bucket and you're like, right, we need to migrate, and they're like, okay, we better move the bucket. You're like, all right, well, how long is that going to take? You know, like it's not.
Have you seen the pricing on that as well? It's very cheap to put data in. It's very expensive to take data out.
Yeah. So the nomadicy is what determines decentralizability.
Yeah, it's choice, isn't it? It's like, yeah, sod you guys.
And
somewhere
the
else.
centralization isn't about the ownership as well, just alone. It's also about the design. Like, if the application was designed with centralization tendencies, you're gonna end up, if you scale, with being not very nomadic yourself, and you therefore curse your users with a lack of nomadicy because of your own stupid folly. But the biggest problem was the browser was supposed to browse the servers, but the browser tried to become a server itself. And that's really the tragedy, or the kids' children's book for story time. The browser is not the server. It sounds stupid that I have to say it, but I have only recently learned this lesson. The browser is not the server.
No, in the same way as the a terminal is not the server.
That's right. That's right. This glorified terminal that got a graphical component started to think that it was a computer.
Yeah.
But it's just the screen. So anyway, the nomadicy, like this unit of nomadicy that I'm able to demonstrate here, is highly mobile. But yeah, that's what as to be honest, probably the biggest part of the compute is actually the task manager that's watching. Is this thing like?
Oh yeah, but you're still not really scraping the sides.
Nah, and the fact that I can allow you to pick whopping great computers if you need them, too, as well as GPU attached computers, like we have slotted in perfectly into the ecosystem here. You can do anything.
I think so.
Yeah.
Again, I'll continue to try and poke holes in it, but I can't yet.
Nah, and then so you've got Artifact. Artifact, the blockchain, is this consensus-based, highly resilient way of managing the state of your data, but also managing the state of your agent fabric or your agentic compute.
Yeah, but
Right.
also the blockchain only steps in after the ephemeral stuff is done.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're offloading a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, the
you don't
load on
really
the
need to
blockchain
recall.
becomes very light. It can be just like tool calls, but the blockchain becomes more like a coordinator where it passes off the execution out to some of the agentic compute units to do calculations for it as well. It doesn't have to be just agentic work. It can be blockchain related repeatable work as well. It's just the point is Artifact, the blockchain, now has access to calling up arbitrarily many Docker containers with arbitrary code within it. Some of that code happens to be AI capable that can coordinate other containers as well. But that's really the win here, is that Artifact's computing model for years was really, really hard. Like we knew that was hard. And we also, because it felt like it needed to be super general, like lots of high frequency, high performance little tasks, all the way up to really big, long running tasks. Who knows? But this container model fits that precisely. Like it lets you do that ability to have the blockchain coordinate more compute than fits in one machine.
Right, and some of that compute might be on chain itself.
Yeah, some of that compute might be blockchainable, and some of it might be ephemeral.
Yeah, yeah. There's something there that's really interesting. So the stuff that you need to be arbitrated between multiple people can be smart contracts and so on, but that presents itself as a server which you're simply getting
Um,
another window in.
yes and no. It can do, but in that case, you're not really. The window is more for ephemeral stuff. Because you may want to interact with it, but like if you were say computing an update to a ledger, what you'd have is like say you had a 4-node blockchain. Each of those 4 nodes has access to an agentic compute resource. And so when it goes to execute its computations, it pushes those computations out to a container in the agentic compute group, and it's flagged as being this needs to be repeatable, like this is a blockchainable action, run it, come back. And then that's where the calculation took place, because this unit of agency allows it to have a blast radius, a containment zone, where it can run untrusted code and just report back the results. Even if the container's crashing and burning, it doesn't matter. You didn't take down the blockchain.
I agree. And I was thinking along the lines of, that consensus oil and gas thing. Everyone's got end of day stuff. They need to understand the whole state, and they need to go somewhat offline and do whatever it is that each does, depending on their own policies. But then they need to come together in order to come to a consensus. All of that is served by different layers in this. You can bring the state off. You can talk to the LM.
Yep. So I think I see what you're saying. Like you got this like ultra protected, highly secured layer that was coordinated with all the other oil and gas companies, but you also have this workbench where you can probe questions without it being broadcast out to all your trading partners that you're suspicious of this or that or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's your internal workflows and your public shared workflows as well, with data integrity the whole way through at the appropriate level.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, how much time we got?
Well, the dogs are up, so as much as you want.
Okay, cool. So I had this idea, which is always usually a sign of bad things about to happen. But as we agree, integrating with existing companies is not a great move for AI because it's clunky, it's awkward, and I think if you're just trying to shave 10% off your costs, you've kind of missed the point.
Yeah.
So, and we were doing this thing with the trucking guys, but they couldn't wait any longer and all that. So what we could do is stand up a completely because there's also like the customer acceptance curve. Like you don't want to have a great business that runs in a ma and pa fashion where humans answer the phone and all this and that. And then you find that, you try to switch to AI and your customers hate it and they walk. Right? Yeah. So you kind of want it to be opt-in. So the idea I have then is to go to companies that want to start integrating AI and say, listen, why don't you provide your core service like an API? So if your job was rubbish collection or deliveries or something like that, you would provide that in an API style, and we will provide a customer-facing front end that's pure AI, and you can refer customers over. We can take in new customers, we can do marketing to pull in customers to this new portal, yada, yada, yada. But what it means is that you don't have to, if your existing customers don't want to move, they don't have to. They'll just probably pay a little bit more. The separate entity is the AI version of you. And it avoids that awkward, horrible mixing of the waters. It's like a fresh, clean, independent start.
So an API to a physical business, are you talking about?
Yeah, and that's really the only jack point you need. You're like, well, if we took on all your customer service roles, all the admin, all the emailing, all this and that, and then internally, sure, we can help you make your internal processes AI proficient, but the real risk here is the customer-facing stuff, right? And why this is good for us is because if we can API one business, we can API another and then select between them, just like OpenRouter does with different AI providers. We can be that for physical companies. And I wouldn't mind betting that that's the future of work, because all these businesses have some component that can't be replaced by computers. That part should be pure API.
Some part that can't be replaced by computers should be API. So if there was something that can't be replaced by computers that requires a human, the API would then do what? How would the API interact with the human?
Well, so for a trucking business, the API would be, okay, you guys run these trucks. We need these collections at this point by this time under this SLA. Here's your order. So it's almost like an enterprise message delivery system. It's an API in that I can place my orders using a program.
That's going to be mostly B2B.
That's what it is. That's what it becomes, because the customers are gonna only want to deal with an AI, and they're gonna want to deal with their own AI, and they're gonna want it to deal with all of the businesses that they touch, because no one really wants to fucking communicate with all these different businesses. You just want it taken care of. You know what your expectations are. You know what you can afford. You're like, just, I don't want to deal with any admin problems. I just want it taken care of. Switch providers if you need. Make sure my rubbish gets collected.
Because what you want is the outcome.
You only care about the outcome. And in fact, you probably only care when the outcome's not there. You'd rather not even notice otherwise. And so this is my sort of angle. Like, we'd always been talking about going into businesses and, like replacing them or upgrading them or doing something in them. But maybe it's easier for everyone if we're just separate and we're like, well, this is the future. Obviously, you guys probably can't make that change incrementally without huge strain. Start afresh.
There is one that is in our laps at the moment, which is interestingly a huge open window. I'm not going to in full detail because it would take a while, but in essence, there is an arbitrage in the UK for pharmacies versus the NHS. NHS varies the prices that they
I see, yeah.
they give for the drugs. The drugs have a shelf date, often can be in 2 years, but the spot price can vary month by month.
Right.
But not all pharmacies can afford to just stock up
Right.
at the best times. It sounds like what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? There's a system that buys drugs cheaply and then sells them. By sell, I mean NHS pays more based on cyclic.
So like
things
you're
like-
warehousing, you're warehousing as a way of smoothing the drug
Yeah.
curve,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, precisely. But also, you're anticipating things like people will need hay fever
Right,
tablets in the
right.
summer.
So you're looking for
There'll be
signals.
flu
Yeah,
jabs,
and you're like, what's the outbreak? Who's sick? What are we seeing? Is it likely to be a high cold winter? What's the weather doing? And you're making all these advanced decisions on how to vary your own price and stockpiles, right?
Right, and also there are adjacent sales. If someone comes in for sun cream, they're probably going to want a pair of sunglasses, as a trivial
Some
example.
sunburn lotion as well.
Yeah. If they come in for a flu tab, they probably want to get, I don't know, some kind of lemon drink or whatever it is. There's front of sales as well, but these things are cyclic. But the cycle is set by the behemoth being the NHS, because a pharmacy cannot survive without the NHS as its key customer. Now, the problem with that is the information gradient. NHS knows everything, pharmacy knows fuck all until it's told. And also cannot stock up necessarily, because keeping stock costs money. And so it seems sensible that pharmacies should band together. Now, how do you band together without a big overhead of saying, hey, Bob, can you send over some,
Yeah.
this?
Ah, right. So really like an autonomous system that was just very intelligent but very low overhead could be set up to provide a small margin to its maintainers, where it did all that balancing for the pharmacies.
But also took the overhead of figuring out in advance what the seasonal cyclic changes are, and anticipate through modelling what the NHS is going to actually charge you next month. And would it be better to buy, I don't know, sun cream in January and flu remedies in July?
What's the minimum number of participants that it becomes viable for?
I have no idea. I've not thought about it. I'll just think about this now.
All right, okay. Well, we need to know that before, because that's where the margin sits.
But I'd imagine, I'm not putting any store by this, but one single pharmacy group is 12 outlets, and the pharmacy group itself, if it just talked to itself, would be able to do this.
It doesn't talk to itself?
No, not really. No.
Okay, well, that sounds like first you sell to a group, and then you sell to a group of groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sounds cool.
So it's a half-arsed idea, but it's something I've been thinking about, because
All right.
it's one in the hopper. But
Cool.
what you're saying, I think, makes sense, an API-based interaction between businesses.
Yeah, well, I mean, Uber's a little bit like that, right? Like Uber Eats and all that, because they're sort of, it's
Well,
the
Uber
same
is that,
company.
but it's it's centralized and all that kind of.
Yeah, but it sort of presents in the same way. Like you could have like this AI pharmacy where you get your diagnoses and your personal sessions and all that, but it can also shop for you, and maybe that's a way for these pharmacies to modernize without the internal overhaul that'll be disastrous on a good day.
Yeah.
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 All right. I realized that long horizon tasks, we've spoke about all these patterns that we're going to have to come up with and solve. And actually, the same thing happens for humans. Like that's what Agile is, and that's what Kanban are, is just how to keep agents on track for long-running tasks.
Yeah.
And so there's really just, there's a lot of work done on how to manage that. And so we'll be able to very quickly, I think, identify the best ways to control these swarms in effective ways. So things are looking up for us. We're finding ways to slot into existing bodies of knowledge.
Kanban's always felt like a fudge. Agile felt like an insurrection against project managers.
Yeah, but it was
Um,
though. I mean, the waterfall planning is wrong. When information changes, it's information work changes the available information every time you do the work.
yeah,
Planning
no,
relies on having
I
all
was,
the information, and so you
I was
execute
right.
part of the plan. Now you got more info. Now the plan needs to change. Like that's
Exactly, but no, that's not the point I was making. I was first up on the barricades against waterfall, but um, there's an interesting thing here about software-defined companies
mm,
and software-defined projects, isn't there? Because essentially, if everyone agrees that an AI could tell you what to do next,
yeah,
and the AI is churning in the background, then the project itself should get better
yeah, absolutely.
in the same way as we've been talking about companies doing exactly that.
Mm. And I
Convergence,
think
man. Convergence.
my last question for you:
Mm-hmm.
if you were to gamble on whether or not the model will become so good at plain text shell operations that it won't need MCP tooling into an app, where would you place your bet? Like if the frames were presented as pure terminal UIs, where it was one character at a time plus like enter and all that, how good will the model get at commanding that? Is it a point where it becomes pointless to have to do MCP tool calls in, and it can be trusted to use a shell correctly in the same way with the same fidelity as tools?
Yes, I mean it follows that um, your first point was if it gets sufficiently good at it, then yeah, you would be able to do primitives
Okay,
only.
when? And the reason I ask that is because is it worth going through all the fuss of making MCP tool calls within the
I
frame?
see where you're going. I see where you're going. Yeah, how long is it going to take that?
Yeah,
Who knows? I don't know. I think it's probably an inevitable path.
inevitable. Okay, so inevitable means that we should degrade the emphasis on having tooling go into the MCP servers and try and limp on with just the minimum we can and focus largely on plain text interactions within the terminals, because if it's inevitable, then I think it would replace tool calling, right?
Well, look at it this way. It's my firm belief that everything is trending towards natural language. Eventually, there will be no other thing.
So even tool calls are trending towards natural language, and so the tool calls become just a stream of text that go into a shell that gets interpreted one way or another, right?
Including the creation of novel tools.
Yeah, okay, so we'll just we'll ease off on that and park that as inevitable and therefore dangerous to burn
Yes,
effort
because
and shift architectural shape to move architectural structure to accommodate something that will inevitably be solved is bad.
yes, because someday a pony will turn up for Christmas.
Yeah, and you're like, oh,
We just don't know when.
yeah,
but
then when it does arrive, your system is in an awkward position, like you're off balance because this new thing came and just wiped out a whole purpose for your being there. So you shouldn't have been
Yeah.
there in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
And don't know how long it'll take, but someday you should be able to ask a question that requires artifact, and it just builds artifact for you in the background, and then does it.
That's the thing, right? All vibe coding platforms are destined to vibe code themselves. Like that's basically the test. You're not a vibe coding platform unless someone can build you exactly in
Yeah.
like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
In which
precisely.
case it's like, where's your business model then? Like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
are you at that point? And that's why I think ambient attribution is probably more. It's like the only life raft left after the polar ice caps melt
I agree.
is that thing, because you're like, shit,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's worth checking in again, but I still think that is the thing that we hold on to closest.
Oh, it's the thing that I want the most, and I think it's also the thing that will save us and make us any different from all these other guys. It requires nomadacy. It requires nomad compute. Like,
Yeah.
it can't be done without that. And nomad compute seems to actually require a blockchain, funny enough. So you need nomad plus a blockchain to get Dreamcatcher.
Yep.
Was there anything else you needed? That was it, right?
No, I think that's it. Hold on, let me think about that more carefully.
Nomad plus artifact equals Dreamcatcher.
Yeah, an artifact eventually will be on the fly. We don't know when.
Right, but so will the nomad compute, and so will the ambient attribution. But the funny thing about ambient attribution is that it's not a thing that gets done, it's an interpretation of the present state. So in effect, it's never finished,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
it's not a
yes,
thing,
precisely.
it's a position.
It's forward looking.
It's an event.
That's a thing.
It's an event in flight, not a thing that's done.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like we're I honestly feel like we're here. Like we've arrived.
I think
No?
to the extent that I can figure out how to, bring it all crashing down, I can't.
So I'll make you this thing that we like. I mean, I feel bad that I don't have it for you right now, but as you can see, it's mighty fucking close. Like it's like day or two type of thing.
Oh man, if you just turned up with what we were describing,
Right? Just what we were describing.
yeah, that would be like rocket power.
Dude,
That
that's
would
gonna
a
be here, and
superpower.
like tomorrow, or the like, depending on how my weekend goes, I might be able to get it then. Like, and then that's the platform,
Yeah.
and then we can add in like we don't. The consensus mechanisms of Artifact will fall soon thereafter because, like, we
Because
have this.
we got the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the multiplier.
Yeah. And then on top of that comes the ambient attribution creation and all that. So okay, so that gamble we're good at. We really should lay down what we're betting about the future, but I think we do that quite well in our heads.
Yeah.
MCP UI, turns out that thing that I was showing you about has been picked up by Spotify.
Spotify.
Yeah. Sorry, not Spotify. Shopify.
Oh, Shopify. Well,
Shopify.
sure.
But that's still pretty big, right? And so they're using MCP UI to allow you to chat with the Shopify backend to show you UI components in chat.
Okay.
So this is
Shopify.
MCP server, the unofficial storefront MCP UI. Okay, so I grab that.
Okay.
And then I go into one of the many, might as well use our own one. There we go. I'll turn off our one. I'll add a new one. Then we're on. Okay, and then the tools that we had were. Oh, what do I do?
Ask it what you want to do.
What?
What's your intent?
What?
Depending on what they've prompted it with, you should be able to ask, "What do I do?"
What? Where am I? Oh, I want a hoodie.
Okay. I think
What
I've
am I
got a bit
doing?
more work to be done. That seemed very presumptuous.
What can you do?
There you go. All right. Search for it's Shopify, isn't it? So it's got loads of stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me about dream catchers. You know, the physical thingies.
Why don't I'll just stick with your examples. Show me your best selling products.
Okay. Dum 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 dum. There it is. Dum bum to go. Search catalog. Yep. And reasoning, thinking. And there you go.
Oh, that didn't do. No, that didn't do the UI. Sorry. That needs a special type of client. Sorry, that needs a very special client. Let me just fire that up. Live demo. Claude Sonnet. MCP settings. Turn off our one. Add a new one. Using Shopify. What? Was that the right one? I swear, goddamn. This is this, do you still want to see this happening? Because I'm just...
Yeah. No, I'm curious.
Why can't I add it? Server name. Asdif. Starting the server. Stopping the server. Okay. What can you do? Oh, what? That did not pull in the right servers.
You haven't asked it to show you anything. Does that make a difference?
Stopped server. Enable server, my bad. Stop server. Bin server. Okay, good. Whew, shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Ask it. Display the 10 best-selling products.
There we go. UI in the chat.
Nice.
UI has entered the chat, and that's a frame.
White leather sneakers, the best-selling product. Really?
Some slides. Oh, I could do some slides.
They've been
Fanny pack. Yes.
seriously.
Yeah, the fanny pack.
Oh my gosh, that's up.
Yeah, so that's that now. So that MCP UI bit is coming into play. Like that's starting to move. Like Shopify's on it. It's working. They've got, money's been spent on making it good. So we can now put that in the terminal. So we'll replace the frames work that I did with that. What they're missing is that they don't treat the frames like an MCP server themselves. I think they could benefit from that. We don't need that straight away. As we just discussed, we expect that having plain text streams, standard IO in and out will be enough, but either way. So this will mean that there's now a standard for us to develop jitters that are visual. So the map component that you're talking about would use this to now, display the
Yeah.
map
And
bit.
everyone in the dog is going to be doing this. And it's
Yeah,
interesting that Shopify, of all people,
yeah, I know.
organizations, did it.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, buddy, that's that, and that went a lot better than I anticipated. Like, it felt easy to tell you about it, and I've never heard you say that you were.
Delighted. It was extraordinary.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'll make
Yeah.
that thing exactly as we just discussed, and
Yeah.
that's that.
Do that, and then we can start building other stuff.
Yeah. Have you got any more time for some extra for experts or some bonus rounds?
Yeah, sure do.
Yeah. Okay. So here's where, like, my life has been getting a lot better lately, I gotta say. So this was the work I did on using all these agents to design the system. So first of all, I got it to make itself a set of instructions. You need a bump. One bump. I was like, you need to make a doc to instruct yourself to help me design this system. And then it came up with this working agreement defining how it will partner with me,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was quite nice of it.
Nice.
And then it came up with the concept of a architecture design record, where it sort of, whenever I chat to it about making a change, it makes a note,
Oh, that's nice.
right? Isn't it just?
That's really nice.
And then the status, like if I accepted it or not, it'll mark it, and it sort of, if I accept it, it ripples through all the changes through the other docs, right?
That's sweet. That was really good. That was really good.
And then got some diagrams going on, because I was like, Maxwell needs some diagrams.
I would like a diagram.
And so, this is like describing how these are not complete, but these are, like, I literally spent like 15 minutes on all of this, and it generated some reasonable stuff. You can see where it's going. Like, you can see that as I reason through each diagram in turn, I will arrive at a set of diagrams that express the inner workings of the system that I just described to you.
Right, but also you can get it to reason against different options for architectural.
That's right. That's right. That's really the point. Because, like, a lot of where I got to, like, what I presented to you was really hard to get there, but the bots helped me see these different angles and different ways of doing it. And that's why I was able to produce what I showed you so quickly. Whereas in the past, I probably, if I didn't have AI, we'd still be talking about whether it's a good idea or not, and my progress would be slow. But now it's been like, I had this, it was literally 6 days ago when I called you up in a bit of a flap and was like, buddy, something's going on, right? And now we're here with like a working system in the cloud, sort of, and a clean, clear design that is going to land in a matter of days. And I'm like, that's AI, right? It's
Yeah.
sort of here. So this was one that see, it marked this status as accepted based on the
You could do some really quite complex text with this.
I have been, trust me.
No,
But-
I mean, like an avionics package for.
Dude,
an
you could
aircraft,
design some wildly hard things, man.
Yeah.
Wild. And you could have them with multiple paths going on where you're getting humans to do things that the machine can't. You're balancing risk against economic outlay, against time. You know,
Right.
you're
Right.
doing all these kinds of things that are usually way too much labor to
Yeah.
you know, like the cost of the labor to do that kind of optimization would sink the project. You're better to be inefficient in that coordination but spend the money on the actual R&D or the development. But here
Right.
it's like this is coming at you with all that.
Yeah, because imagine if a part of this sequence is non-digital, so you need to
Mm,
get a tooling bit made, an
mm,
expensive tooling bit.
mm. I need
To
I
put
need a sintered I need a sintered tip for this type of material. I need some, you know, I need titanium blanks. I need this and that, and
Yeah.
we're going to run an experiment, and it should be able to map out all the idle capacity in the world and pick a good mix of them. Now, we spoke about having this Uber network of war factories that was able to produce things, and I think both of us had the notion that they needed to opt in.
Yeah.
Actually, they don't. We will negotiate with them using this system so that we can turn them into APIs from our point of view. They think that you know, like
Of course you can.
they don't know
Yeah.
that they've been wrapped, and we just
Yeah.
wrapped them, right?
Yeah.
And then
You
we
just get an order.
coordinate them around, and we have this distributed factory that doesn't even know what it's doing. Like everyone's in the dark, they're just doing their one job. We know what
Right.
pricing we can
Right.
insist
Of
on,
course. Of course.
and we coordinate this project from afar.
And as long as it stays within the parameters and architecturally it makes sense, then you could just wrap anything.
Yeah.
You could wrap a pizza delivery.
Hmm. Yep.
That's really neat.
Yep. So yeah, this is what I've been doing and working on. This work was what allowed me to present to you today because it helped me understand what components I needed in order to make it work. You know, here's the dictionary of things I need: a fly app, a fly machine, an agent image, what handoff means, what TTYD is, the viewer, the registry, all this stuff. And then the user flow. Oh dear. Yeah, so this was like user flows of what happens when you come in, right? And you're like, before you've been authenticated, you know, what are you doing? And yeah, it's been a fun time, I gotta say.
Hmm.
So that's that, buddy. I don't have any
Man, you don't need any more. That's been quite a session.
I've been busy.
Yeah.
I've been very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So what next? Well, we know what next. I'm just saying that's the placeholder. It's obvious what's next.
yeah, but I think what the better question is what then?
Using it.
Yeah, but on what? My whole life has been about getting this system up.
Attribution.
It feels more like retribution, the state we're in. Yeah, okay. So we got this DAO thing still floating. There's like,
Yeah.
I
but
guess
forget
we'll. Sorry.
I'm just saying attribution, I think, is the first thing because everything after that flows.
It's kind of now I'm feeling temptation, right? Like now I'm like, maybe we should just go make a bunch of money. Like that's starting to knock on the door, and I'm like, we gotta just hold it together enough to build the attribution component, and then we can just go wild. But
Yeah.
this is where temptation comes, right? Because I'm like, I could just grab that
Because you could,
or that.
yeah,
That other
you
one.
could turn around
some pretty, decent amount of coin.
You
quite
could grab a lot of money at this point from this
Yeah.
system, but you can grab even more money if you just hold the line and build that one little thing.
Well, you got a genie. What was the first thing you asked for a genie? Attribution, I think, is the thing.
It's the
Is the
thing.
answer to your
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, because then it's like, how much does everyone get paid?
Yeah, but also then you get to distribute effort.
Yeah, permissionlessly as well. But then, okay, so this is the temptation, right? We just described that way that you could do a distributed factory.
Yeah.
You could do that without attribution at all because you could do it just two guys,
I know.
All right.
Exactly
You know what I
exactly
mean?
you're saying.
And
It's
like between the two of us, we cover the whole world's time zones. There's no point at which this machine would be without supervision, and it
yeah.
would be a worldwide factory. And I'm just like, the
Oh man.
right, like I mean, that's,
I feel like the devil's, whispering into your ear.
well,
There's
I mean, we could just do both, but the trouble is, like, the ambient as soon as we start making money, good money, the ambient attribution agent is gonna fade. So it's almost like we need to get that up. Like, we need to suffer for just one last push
well, we're still poor.
while you're right? Because otherwise,
Yeah.
no one's gonna fucking want that thing.
Yeah.
Because the classic thing will be, let's just keep all the money and yada, yada, yada.
Isn't the obvious thing is get attribution up and then start making coin using attribution?
That's the way I think that I don't know a better word for it, but that we keep our souls, because
Yeah.
I feel like if we just selfishly took this thing and enslaved people with it, that might not look good for us later.
It's a bit like getting to the end of a marathon, 1 mile off, and then stopping for a photo shoot. It's like so close.
Still.
I think it's attribution.
Anyway, we're gonna do the attribution thing. It might not be that hard, but then from attribution we then make currency, right?
Yeah.
Because we can actually reason through what a blockchain currency looks like with good incentives. So
Yeah.
what we should be able to do is take a bunch of game economics books, pipe them into the agent network, and then start painfully getting the bots to go through each and every concept and check and balance and whatever, and make sure the incentives of the blockchain network are not only set right, but are made adaptive so that they are continually refining themselves on the fly autonomously.
Yep.
And then we're like, well, that's the money system of the Dreamcatcher. That's the Reserve Bank, or that's the Federal Reserve setting monetary policy based on game theory.
Yep. And various examples like EVE Online has got a huge amount of data on what effectively is an economic system, which is a mercantile system. There's plenty of other data from real world, and so we get to that point.
Right. So we make an ambient attribution agent, and then we make a currency that the ambient attribution agent is like central to, or it's like it's really the currency of attribution. Like that is the currency, and the attribution agent should be one and the same thing. Like the ambient attribution agent works by allocating the currency, this currency, and attribution is done by spending that currency. So the currency becomes the standard IO channel with the agent. You communicate with the agent by using the currency. That's the comms. the information that flows with each transaction is that like that. Does that make sense? Like it is the agent is the money.
Yes.
The agent
Yeah.
state is the money. Some shit. Something like that. Anyway. And then selling computing resources and hosting sounds pretty good because, we got to live somewhere, and Fly.io is expensive actually, but really good to get started. And so if we
Yep.
start selling raw hardware,
But we got nomadic compute, and so
yeah, Nomad Compute lets us move, and then we can sell like certified or super cheap or solar powered or self sovereign or any of that.
Yep.
Okay. At the same time, silicon becomes more and more powerful. We see
And
like edge
we
compute kicks off.
then we drip some things into the hopper, from the hopper into the system, into distribution.
And then I think we're there. We're gonna have to figure out taxation and domiciles and all that garbage stuff. But we'll have this tool, so whoop-de-doo. We probably need a Wyoming entity set up, I guess. Some shit like that. A Stripe
Right.
account.
again, even all of that with what you're saying is effectively APIing anything. Get the API.
Yeah,
version
it's
of the
like
company.
it's like reverse API, right? It's like you just this one API turned the whole world into an API.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's really the app we need to make. Like, screw trying to get existing systems to change. We'll just wrap it all.
Yeah.
Because who cares?
Yeah.
Wrap it all. And then there'll obviously be some nuance and some tricks, but most of them, like, look at what Uber Eats did. Like, they managed to wrap all the restaurants with just a bunch of people in cars. Like, there's probably, like, you need a transport network and you need a money payment system and you need it's probably less
Yeah,
than
but
5
they-
things that you need
yeah,
to
well-
solve 90%.
The thing is, Uber Eats did actually API restaurants.
Yeah, they API'd the restaurants.
The API delivery.
Yeah. But they're coming a cropper
was it.
because they invited competition through their unfair practices because they maximized their self gain at the expense of the customers, the workers, and the restaurants. And because they were taking something out that shouldn't be taken, so ambient attribution can sort of save us there. But their fee is very high because their cost of rollout was massive. They fight massive litigation bills and all that, and they're based in California where salaries are stupid high. Now, if we're coming in with no admin overhead, no, none of that, like already we're cheaper just because there's no heads, there's no overhead, there's no heads.
Right. Especially no expensive heads, and you can wrap anything. And so, who cares where? If you do need human intervention, then attribution.
There's
So,
probably, I think, I wouldn't mind betting that we can calculate a saturation point that's quite low that says if we can find like 10 guys with cars around the Edinburgh area, that we could be a competitive Uber Eats / Uber driver / do anything /
yeah,
API ability of anything like system, and it wouldn't take a lot of people, and those people would get paid well, and the ambient attribution system would make it so that no competitor would bother to come because this is the best deal,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'd bet that density is not that high, man. But the consumption rate would be viral. It's like, oh, I just talk to this bot and it does all my stuff. Yeah, man, MCP.
That's the easy use thing. Is like the magic.
Yeah, ease of
that's
use
the
of
language.
everything. So maybe that's actually the thing to get going. It's like you're so general that you're just general tasks. You've real world API'd anything, and then every individual effort that we undertake become steering towards the API ability of that particular thing, like the pharmacy thing, the trucking thing. It's all just trying to generally API it. And
Yeah.
this collective cohesive effect is the stronger thing that occurs overall.
Yeah, and even down to things like staffing of, I don't know, coffee shops.
Yeah. Yeah, so we could actually like that distributed factory thing's a great one because that's hard to manage, but you could actually sign deals where you've actually got all the subcontracts lined up nicely and you've got supply deals for factory components and materials that are spread between many distributors, and you're making money because you can switch. You manage the thing very cheaply because you don't have staff, and you switch the who you buy from depending on all these different factors, so you're always the most competitive.
It's the final middleman, isn't it? Tier 2.
The final middleman. That's it. And the middleman is an API.
Yeah.
The last middleman.
Go build it. Build it.
Give me a moment. I mean, you know,
build it.
across somebody.
That was awesome, man.
That's actually the thing, right?
Yeah.
And there we are. Still running. Brand new tab. Everything's still as I left it.
That's beautiful.
And then that'll be persisted to blockchain so that it doesn't even matter if the server crashes. You just come back.
Yeah.
All right. I've
All right, I should get on. I think you should probably get on as well.
all right, buddy.
That was powerful. That was a powerful one.
All right, I'll upload it, and then hopefully we don't wake up tomorrow and find the world's been changed again out from under us
Yeah. Well, maybe
Yeah.
not tomorrow, but it will be soon.
soon enough.
But I think the thing that I draw a lot of comfort from is consistently we seem to be slightly ahead
Of the charging hordes of demons from hell.
We're not often behind, eh?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we're, closer to getting, munched. Other times we're way out ahead, but we've never been behind yet.
No. And each time something new has landed, it's been a boost to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Oh, well, I'll go make the thing, and then I'll come back, and we'll use the thing together.
Yeah. But seriously, man, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That was one of the
You like it, right? Like the terminal thing is like the solution. Yeah. Like this is the.
Yeah.
Please, if you think of
Super.
anything that is missing from this model, please tell me immediately, because I'm about to
will.
just burn hard on this thing.
I will try hard to poke a hole in the side
And
and
yeah,
ruin your day.
yeah,
but,
please, because otherwise I'm like off there thinking everything's fucking dandy.
I think this is it. The only thing is the unknown unknowns that could drop through the blue sky and be better, but I can't think.
Oh, look, even if it did, I'm still going to use this, because where am I going to put my files? Like my data. I don't want to put it in Big Cloud. I want it on my own system that I can take with me into the jungle with a couple of fucking, open source models and some GPUs and fucking tell everyone to fuck off.
Yeah, and also it covers everything that we've been asked for from the hopper. Every single thing.
Is that maybe, well, I mean, it's up to you, but perhaps it's constructive if you methodically went through each one and described, used Codex to write a spec sheet of how you would solve each one,
Yeah.
because then it lasts, right? And then each time I make a design change, I can rerun all the calculations through each use case spec or each proposed solution, and then that can allow that rapidity of switch, because every time I change something I'm like fuck, did we miss anything? Help, what about this, what about this problem, right? But if you start baking it down, sort of like how I'd showed you with the very loose sketch of how I'm designing the computing cluster bit, then we can have more fluid changes, because we dispatch agents to reconcile with any new idea that comes up,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Thank you very
Nice one.
much. That was fabulous.
I think that's deserves another fist bump.
A fist bump. Oh, sorry, I was not in the.
Yeah, fist bump.
Right.
Uh-uh.
Oh
Hang on.
no! Oh no!
What
Oh
happened?
no! I punched something real. Oh
What?
no! Oh shit!
What
Oh
did you punch?
no! I punched my water bottle.
Oh, that's the universe going. I hate you.
Ah, it's like
Hang on, laddie. I'm gonna shit with you still.
settle down. Settle down.
All right. I'll
No.
see you on Monday. And
Okay, bud.
for text and stuff. Right.
All right.
Nice work.
See ya.
See you later.